So I may be setting myself up for failure on this one, but I think I'm ready to commit to the idea that House of the Dragon has been solid enough after 4 episodes that it has effectively pulled me back into my own Game of Thrones fandom once again. Let's discuss. Before I get started, I'd like to kindly ask you to hit the like button, and please subscribe to the channel for more content just like this.
All I'm offering is the truth, nothing more.
So I was scrolling through Twitter after watching episode 4, which I don't recommend that anyone do, simply because Twitter is the biggest collection of the most vile and strange people on the planet. But while browsing, I came across this whole subculture of Game of Thrones fans that apparently are excited at the thought of incest.
What the hell am I looking at? When does this happen in the movie?
Which is very strange to me, and it should be strange to anyone who is normal. Now, I realize that incest has always been a part of Game of Thrones lore, and it's become fairly common to see it portrayed in this show over the years. And maybe I'm old-fashioned, but when Game of Thrones was at its peak, I specifically remember people being disgusted at the relationship between Cersei and Jaime. And they should be. It's not a plot point that is designed to have you fawn and obsess over. In fact, it was pretty much used to accentuate their characters as villainous people.
But you one crazy ass bitch!
The weird part is that there's people in this fandom who defend the quote-unquote shipping of characters who are related to each other. And they do so by saying things like, well, if incest triggers you, then you shouldn't be watching Game of Thrones. First of all, no one is triggered by the incest in this show. It's a work of fiction. But us normal people do find it a little bit strange that you whack jobs take so much pleasure in seeing it. It's not normal, and please have yourself checked out if you thoroughly enjoy it in the way that these people do. That being said, on to what actually happens in episode 4. And this episode primarily deals with Rhaenyra coming to terms with her place in this world, as well as her discovering what's really important to her. Her early meetings with possible suitors that were set up by her father does not go well as expected. Because that's not what Rhaenyra wants. Rhaenyra wants to find love, and that's admirable. And just when it seems like nothing is going to work out for her again, good old Uncle Daemon returns from slaying the crab feeder and gaining control of the stepstones once again. Now he's looking to slay something else, if you know what I mean.
Cause she got a great ass!
Much to everyone's surprise, he bends the knee to his brother, which was obviously more of a strategical move than it is a genuine gesture. Because I don't see any situation where Daemon would actually do something like that from the heart. So in return, Daemon is pretty much treated as this returning hero. And during a little celebration for him, Rhaenyra actually confides in him, telling him about how she has bigger desires than just being used for her bloodline, or being used as a baby factory, which again is understandable.
That makes sense.
And I think this is the moment where Daemon saw an opportunity, and he realizes that the best chance for him to get what he wants is for him to go to a place that maybe he even probably never thought he'd have to go. This of course leads to him sneaking Rhaenyra out of the castle, and they dress as commoners and they pretty much go hit up some brothels.
Welcome to the party, pal!
And initially while watching this, it felt like Daemon just wanted to take Rhaenyra out and show her a good time. Little did I know he wanted to do a little bit more than that. You see, Rhaenyra is very obviously not happy in her current situation, and in typical Daemon fashion, I think he's looking to take advantage of that. So this, my friends, is where everything gets really weird. Because Daemon takes her into a back room where an orgy is happening and comes on to her, and she reciprocates. And collectively, normal people who are not on Twitter cringed everywhere. Not only is she his niece, she's pretty young as well, so this episode went full-on Game of Thrones pretty quickly. Daemon does pull away before going all the way, but he does go far enough where it got really weird. So basically what happens is that he turned Rhaenyra on, and then she went back to her chambers and fucked her bodyguard. So I guess things worked out for Sir Criston. But shit really takes a right-hand turn into Fucksville when one of Otto Hightower's spies reports back to him that he saw Daemon and Rhaenyra that night.
Now what the fuck are we supposed to do?
So Otto, being the hand of the king and having an obligation to report this information back to the king, does just that. Now don't get me wrong, he probably had his own selfish reasons for doing so as well, but we have to remember he was also right in what he was reporting back to the king. The king obviously doesn't take this information too kindly. Let's be honest, it's never going to be easy to hear that your brother and your daughter might be having a relationship. Now, I've been a little rough on the character of Viserys lately, and rightfully so, but it did feel like he acted much more swiftly in dealing with this situation than he did with past situations. Granted, I'm still not sold on why he continues to let Daemon live after Daemon disrespects him time and time again. I do understand him giving his daughter the benefit of the doubt because Daemon does have a way of manipulating people, and the king is aware of that. But eventually, Viserys does have to put his foot down because he's given Rhaenyra more leeway than any woman has ever had in this universe.
Anybody care about what I want?
I do.
Shut up. Get out.
And she's still pretty much doing things to jeopardize their legacy. I say again that I think the show has actually done a great job of showing us how Rhaenyra could be a great leader, and showing us all the reasons why she wouldn't be a great leader as well. Viserys eventually gets manipulated once again, because Rhaenyra plants the seed of doubt in him about Otto Hightower's intentions, and basically saying he just wants to get me out of the way so his grandson will be the heir to the throne.
Because it's all part of the plan.
Listen, we know that Otto has his own desires, we know Rhaenyra has her own desires, and we know that Daemon has his own desires. So at this point, if I was Viserys, I would pretty much be writing all of them off. Hearing everything that he's heard in this episode and in the past few episodes, clearly none of these people are positively contributing to your reign as king.
It's good to be the king.
Anyway, Viserys' solution to all this is to force Rhaenyra to marry Lord Corlys' son once again. And to top it all off, he has the Maester bring Rhaenyra a special Plan B cocktail, just in case one of Daemon's or whoever's soldiers got through her defenses, if you know what I mean. That's something I never thought I'd see in a Game of Thrones show. That being said, all the debauchery and all the undermining that went on in this episode sold me on the prospect even more that Game of Thrones is officially back.
No shit.
I know that we're going to be having a significant time jump soon, and that would involve recasting some of the characters because they're going to be playing older versions of themselves. Game of Thrones has never really done anything like that, so I'm not sure how I feel about that, especially considering I'm just now getting invested in these versions of the character, so this could be somewhat of a risky plan. I'm just hoping that this switch isn't too jarring when we eventually see it. The biggest things I'm looking for in the second half of this season: did Rhaenyra go through with the arranged marriage? What is the Queen and Rhaenyra's relationship after she got Otto Hightower removed from the council? And are Daemon and Rhaenyra still lusting over each other, and have they even seen each other in all this time that has passed?
You disgust me. How can you live with yourself?
Oh, and if Viserys is still ruling, how the fuck has he not been killed yet? Or at least backstabbed in some way? Gotta be honest, didn't think he'd make it out of the first half of the season. Once again, I'm really enjoying House of the Dragon, and I'm really excited about that, and I make no apologies for it either. It's rare that I find myself invested in any kind of modern day storytelling, but so far everyone involved in this show has done just that for me, and I can appreciate that. And always remember, folks, you can enjoy this show without being a fucking weirdo. We'll see you next week.
Y'all be cool. Right on.